welcome to Catholic Mom Talks. Happy almost Thanksgiving, everybody. We're almost there, right? Just 2 more days. And we have so much to be grateful for, right? We live in a beautiful country. It's free. We have our homes and food and our families. And just the list could go on and on how many beautiful things the Lord has done for us in our lives, right? So much to be grateful for. Tonight, I wanted to talk about being driven, okay? And by that I mean sometimes things happen in our life, right, that can cause us to be driven by a motivation, right? And sometimes that motivation may not be a good voice. It's a record that plays on in our head over and over and over and over again, right? And we're driven by that message, okay? And for example, let me think of an example. Maybe like, maybe somebody tells you you're ugly or you're fat or you're overweight or something of that nature, some family member, right? Well, that record plays over and over and over again in your head, right? So unconsciously, you're driven, okay? You're driven to prove that person wrong, right? You may go to extreme measures to, exercise to the point of your whole life is consumed and you can't weigh over a certain amount of weight, right? This is being driven by a wound, okay? By a wound. And I think it's important that we look at these things, okay? And the reason why is because it pushes you in a direction, right, that you may not or are not supposed to go, okay? Does that make sense? Another example, maybe you're a young girl and you have a relationship with a man and he abused you emotionally or verbally or who knows what. You go into your next relationship driven by that wound. Okay, you automatically think the other person is going to betray you, that type of thing, right? So we need to nip the wound in the bud. That's the basics of the whole understanding or the talk that I want to give, is that we have to find out and go into prayer and ask the Lord, where is this wound coming from? What is the wound in my heart that is driving me? Now, we wait for Jesus to show you, right? And then you have to give it over to him and say, Lord, help me heal in this area, right? If the danger is if you don't nip it in the bud, so to speak, or you don't look at it or take care of it, it's going to continue to drive you, okay? And a lot of times it will drive you to commit serious sin. Okay, and that's the real danger. That's the real danger. And the enemy preys on you, especially like when you're down, right? And you're wounded in a certain area. He's gonna kick you when you're down. Okay, he's going to accuse you. Okay, and that's the best word I can come up with. Accuse you, and you can see this, right? This is the voice of the world, right? Now, the world, Scripture tells us, the Lord tells us in Scripture, that the world is run by the enemy, okay? Not that God is the creator of the whole world. He's made everything, and everything in the world that's magnificent is of God, right? But the ruler of this world is the enemy, okay? That's why Jesus came, okay, to take us back. Take us back from the enemy. And the reason why we were gone to begin with, because of the fall, right? That was a pretty serious situation, right, with Adam and Eve. That one decision to want to break away from God left us in the state of original sin. It wasn't until we were baptized, right, through Christ, that we were ransomed back. We were taken back, and we now belong to God, okay? That is when God comes to live within us, okay? We renewed our covenant with God, okay? Thank goodness we have baptism, right? Thank goodness, right? But I don't think we as Christians or Catholics really understand the significance of what baptism is. Because when you receive your baptism, the Lord comes to dwell and make his home in you, okay? You are his. You belong to him. Okay, so now to go back to what I was talking about, you've got the world, right? The voice of the world. It's the enemy. He's the accuser. Okay, you don't look good enough. Okay, you need to weigh 110 pounds or whatever. You need to work out more. You need to have a better education. You even though you've been working maybe at a job for 30 years, you've been supporting your family, right? And you're an incredible craftsman, or who knows what. Maybe you don't have an education. But the fact is that you are being accused of something you did not do. Okay? You need to be better. If you hear that voice, that is the enemy's voice. Okay? Not that I'm not saying education isn't amazing, because it is, and the Lord may lead you into an education, and that's amazing, right? But not all of us, have gone that route, right? Does that mean your job is any less sacred, any less holy? Absolutely not. Okay? So this voice saying you are not good enough, self-hatred. You see this all the time, right? Especially with women in image, right? Images. You have to match up. You have to be something you are not, so people will love you. Well, that's a tactic of the enemy, because if you're who you are, you're going to give Jesus to other people, because your real self is where Jesus is at, right? So the trick is, we can't be driven from the wound. Okay, sure, we may have a lot of wounds in our heart, right? We may be completely devastated because our life may have been a little rocky, right? May have been really rocky. Okay, and it's a miracle you're still here. Maybe your family's an absolute total mess, right? But I want to tell you something. You were willed by God. Okay, God wanted you. You are precious in the eyes of God. Okay, you have a purpose and a mission from God. God is calling you into deep and total intimacy with Him. He waits for you to come. Okay? Especially my fellow Catholic brothers and sisters in the Eucharist. The Lord is waiting for you to come. He's waiting for you to come in the sacrament of reconciliation. He's waiting for you. He wants to show you how much He loves you. Okay? Sometimes it's very difficult for us to become obedient to God, because we're afraid that if we become obedient to God, we'll have to give up our sinful life, which is true. You will have to give up your sinful life, but it's for something much, much better. Okay? It's for someone who is never going to be unfaithful to you. It is for someone that gave His blood for you. It is that intimacy that we are called to. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. God bless you all. Happy Thanksgiving. He loves you and He's waiting for you. So if you get a chance, go see Him this weekend. God bless everyone.